it's still just as loud. So things are going to be fine. Glad they've sorted that one out, and now it's time for us to sort out this draft as we move into game number 2. The bros now on the blue side, and I want to see your bro tax all over that Twitch chat. We're going to need it as the Nico going to start getting banned away first up.
Where will Gwen fall in this second draft as well with no Aurora is a big question. No Rumble either. The Ambessa, of course, a big pick for both of these top laners, even though Morgan's stats don't back that up. I think he's a pretty good Ambessa game.
I think the most recent one was a win.
Yeah.
Okay, he picked up his first win out of 11 games, okay, quite recently, and that means that he's gotten better. That's improvement right there.
Closer keeps drawing these Yone bans, which feels really good if you're a bro fan, because that's on red side, one of the bans taxed away, and so that's pretty huge. As Nico gets banned this time very early in the draft, the Poppy will also be taken away.
Croco could get Pantheon here pretty comfortably.
He certainly could.
I think they banned Talia. I think that would probably be a good choice.
Okay.
Never mind, it's going to be the Trundle. So the Pantheon is definitely what they're aiming for.
Well, if you ban Pantheon, it's the trade. You definitely don't want to ban Azir or the Talia here, because I think both of those picks right now in my mind are better than the Pantheon. The Talia still gives you a global effect, so...
I mean, Showmaker, he does love playing Ahri.
If you just ban something completely different, you can get Azir plus Pantheon or Talia plus Pantheon, as CB Maxes love to have. So I'm surprised he didn't ban the Pantheon. If they picked first pick Azir, you get Talia Pantheon, but they banned the Pantheon, and I guess we are going to get a first pick Talia into Azir plus.
Nah, it's going to be Vi Ahri.
No!
I mean, I guarantee the Ahri's coming through. I don't know whether he needs to pick it right here. Can save it for 3 if they've got something a little bit more high priority. But we'll just have to see where DK's minds are. It's like Jarvan or Vi and Ahri is like almost a guarantee.
I think you could have been comfortable to play Azir here, but yeah, I mean, this is what Showmaker likes. This is what they're doing, and it is with the Ahri lock. I think definitely going to be the Vi. Just too simple.
Yeah.
And with the Pantheon ban, this all makes sense. Let's see what the response is going to be, because you could just... We've seen teams actually just push the 80 character. Like BNK did this yesterday, where they just push a Kai'Sa in and deny here. You could go for that, and there's no Nico, unfortunately. So if you had like a Nico lane here, you could try to just avoid going straight into that Vi pick. Instead, we're just going to push the Renekton up. Okay.
That's an interesting one. As Croco, never mind, he is going to take a leaf out of the Raptor book and pick up the Doggo.
The difference, though, between this Naafiri pick and the Raptor Naafiri pick is Raptor is picking it where he has the ability to pressure the bottom lane, knowing the lane matchup, picking it later in the draft, picking it right here.
Yeah, and also
is a little bit interesting.
Also, there's set up on the top side of the map, but you are double AD, and there is, like, Talia is not set up in herself. That's why she pairs so well with things that
anything
can
has CC. Yeah.
Exactly. Naafiri does not have CC.
Picking Sion into Renekton is also an interesting choice here.
But picking it into Naafiri? Oh, that feels good.
Yeah, I think that's the main reason why they do lock this down. Although we have seen Naafiri can just simply avoid the Sion and get into the backline instead. We don't know what the backline is going to be just yet, but when you have Sion plus Ahri, it always feels very strange compositionally, right? Because you're like, we got this pick comp, but we're also kind of looking at front to back a little bit. You know, we've got a big scaling 80 carry coming, surely. The Kai'Sa is an obvious ban. I mentioned they could have picked it away, but they decided to ban it here in the second phase instead.
I think like a Sivir ban could also work pretty well at the same time. But we'll see where they do decide to go. Obviously, Sivir feels like she adds enough utility as well as being a bit of a hyper carry for the later stages of the game. They're not representing that much range to really cause too many problems.
It's kind of... I'm very nervous for Hype Wave's going to play here, because they could just ban Ezreal. They banned Kalista.
Interesting.
Because now you want something that can cut through the Sion, but also those champions are pretty vulnerable to Ahri Vi, so... It is a little bit tricky to kind of draft around here in terms of your composition. As will we just see a fourth 80 carry ban here in the second phase. Yeah, Zeri works decently here for Dplus. Sivir was one you mentioned that's really strong, and they could have even tried to run Jinx because it scales well and pairs well with the Ahri Vi. They didn't ban the Jinx, maybe. I mean, there'd be an angle here.
Yeah, the double reset value is actually kind of high, right? Like that's how you turn this somewhat single-target composition. Of course, Sion does do a lot of AoE stuff, but he's a tank. But Ari is very good at killing one target, and so you then get excited, and then you mow up the rest of them.
I feel always guilty that we point out these Jinx angles when you and I both know in the LCK.
Oh, it's definitely not happening.
Never, ever. But we're like, this would be a great Jinx angle. It won't be, though.
We're going to add more single-target pick instead, which can then flow over into more CC. Thanks, Chains of Corruption. That could work, as the Varus has been locked in.
Honestly, on-hit Varus would have gone pretty hard for Bros comp, too. Now they have a tough lane match. Like, now it's a little bit trickier to play the Ezreal I was mentioning into this lane match, even if it's not Lethality Varus, which I don't think it will be. Going for Jhin, which follows up pretty well for Renekton and Naafiri. Actually, kind of a nice Jhin angle here.
I don't mind it on the Bro side. I actually think that if Aiming had have picked the Jhin, it would have just been done deal. We're going to a best of 3. But Varus does do a fair bit of damage, especially if you're going to go the on-hit build, and he is able to keep himself safe.
Don't rel, Palu.
I'm worried about Bard.
Don't rel.
I'm very worried about Bard.
Bard, you can do some stuff with. It's hard. It's hard, but like you can kind of do some things.
But it's Palu, so I just don't know about it. As the Nautilus will be locked away. I actually think this is great. I think Beryl would have loved to play Nautilus in this position.
You 100% do. Also, it's pretty good into Ari because you can re-engage with it very well and punish those overextensions by just pressing R and clicking on Ari. She can't really outplay it with her ultimate very much.
Yep.
Works well with the Naafiri, works well with Talia.
It's Janna time. Just do it, Beryl.
It's rel time.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I don't know if it should be rel time, but it is rel time.
We're just going to barrel down the lane.
Barrel.
Barrel. Yeah.
This is a bit of a weird one, Atlas, in terms of drafts. You know, we talk about a lot at the beginning of the day. Both coaches talked a lot about how it's not always about the top tier picks. It's about the composition you build. And I look at these two drafts, and I'm like, not sure about the compositions we've built. I mean, I like Dplus's comp more, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think that
it's easier.
It does have a pretty straightforward style. If they fall behind, they will do no damage, and that is problematic. I think Morgan's Renekton, if he's in a good spot in this game, could actually take over, and that could be very scary. And we know that the Naafiri really is a lot of X factor as well. We've seen Raptor really demonstrate some mastery on how to get value and get ahead early on this champ. And this composition, if it does find that early advantage, is very, very scary.
Yeah, the engage is so simple for the side of D+. And as long as they don't blow it all on a Naafiri who can just go untargetable and dance away, not to mention any teams who tried to do that yesterday, then I think they can win almost any team fight. Like, the Jhin is so vulnerable as long as you get the right angle of attack. But if you overextend in this comp that Bro put together, it is so incredibly punishing. Any Talia comp can be, but with a rel here, if you mess up your engage, you lose your support. D+ don't have necessarily big damage. If you're behind, like you mentioned, it's tough. Yep,
and the follow-up from the Jhin will always be there as well. Let's see how it goes as we jump onto the Rift for game number 2.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for the second game of the series. Can Bro pull it back and turn this into a best of 3? Guarantee 4 games.
Ooh, Lusa with a massive gold lead here.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, it's all over. This snowball's already a-rolling. 6 gold?
Yeah.
And the Bros don't even get to ping on the ward? Oh, it's a disaster. Yeah. As Morgan is Toy Renekton. I'm having a good time walking up to the Lumberjack.
Renektoy.
Sorry, that is
the terminology.
I should use the terminology. I apologize. Renektoy.
It is the best Renekton skin.
I do need to write a public apology for that one. I will do that one later. As I mentioned previously, I don't own a ukulele. I could try to do something on a guitar, but I just haven't practiced. So I'm just not very good these days. Never was. Not gonna lie.
Well, this Renekton into Sion is going to feel pretty good in this early game. Morgan is already ready to get into the thick of things in the top lane, as you guys can see on the mini-map, as this ward will be cleared by Palu. Well, he'll scan it, and it'll be cleared by Hype. Yep. You guys know what I mean. And this early game is going to be about barrel fishing. What he can find in this 2v2 will determine who ends up getting ahead, but naturally the Jhin is quite potent.
Yeah, pretty good at this early game. Oh, having a look, it is going to be Lethality Varus.
Oh, yeah.
Out of aiming.
That's a good call.
Taken the Comet, so isn't likely going to be building towards any attack speed.
I'm not sure if I think it's not very strong right now, but I think in the comp I don't hate it because it's just great follow-up to any single target that gets hit by the Ahri.
Speaking of getting hit, he gets hit by the Deadly Flourish, as never mind actually, Beryl tanked that one up, but that is still going to be a terrible result here for DK bottom side.
It's a trap to think that you can play Rel at level 1. I think it's like Rel is like the new Alistar. I mean, how many lanes do I have to watch for you're like, I think I can do this? No, you can't do this.
Whoa. One more link in the chain and Polly would have found that. This guy is kind of locked in on this Nautilus so far.
Do not want to be hit by those hooks, Dplus bottom laners.
Well, they are not going to get hit by it anymore because they are, thankfully, underneath their turret. Beryl setting up the CS here quite nicely.
Yeah, it's going to be a +1 here to aiming.
Nicely done.
Surely.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, Beryl's got his back.
That's beautiful. Beryl with the proc, able to lock that one down. Very nicely done. So as you say, going to be ahead by just a little bit, but it's nothing to really write home about.
Very scary when you're walking up like this as the Rel, because if you get hit by the Nautilus and Hype 4-shots you, it is not what you want, but he times it well with the last hit the Hype was looking for there on the minion. They're trying to contest for cannon. Really watching this bottom 2. It's the new way, because this lane often is the decider of early games.
I do think that it's not actually going to be the decider of the game, though.
No.
I think that these are going to be supporting cast members. And if there is a snowball, for example, from even Lucid in this game, but Showmaker especially, that's where DK are able to get themselves some leads.
Yeah, Showmaker, like, this is kind of the way that if we go all the way back to, hold up, we're going to have Shu as a target of a dive.
Yep, level 4 gank this time around as Morgan is going to be slicing over. Everyone's flashing for Shiu, who does shield himself up. He's still alive as Croco comes over and will be able to pick up the kill with the bleed. Still, that was a lot closer than I think a lot of people were expecting. Shiu going to try and keep himself alive on this wave, actually picking up so much of this farm before it does all go down, and he can then teleport back up as Lucid walks over a ward to get back up here. Okay. Nice first blood, though, going over to Croco.
This is what you do with Nefiri, and even though Sion is considered very strong into Nefiri, these early levels with no items in his inventory, especially with how much damage he took from Morgan in the lane that we weren't watching, very easy to just dive on him. He handles it well, he flashes here, right? But the aggro is reset by Croco's W, and that's, like, that part of her kit is basically designed for this. And so she just resets it and says, all right, well, one more Q will do it. See you later. Down here, this lane, resetting a little bit as well. You can see that Hype was denied a cannon moments before last time we were taking a look at this, but that wasn't mentioned about the B&K series for Dplus, the last one they had regular season. That was the series where Lucid had the insane pop-off Xin Zhao game, and then Showmaker had the insane pop-off Ahri game. And so many games for Dplus, you're like, if you just trust these individual players to pop off and carry, like, who cares about what happens in the mid game? Who cares about what happens in those late game team fights? Showmaker's fed, he's going to realm warp into the base, it doesn't matter. And that's kind of been the MO for Dplus, and this comp definitely does allow for those types of scenarios, as Paulo being such a bro here.
He absolutely is. Hype going to be able to make it up and pick up the majority of these minions, as Shu didn't actually teleport to get himself back to lane.
Yeah, and he is going to look like just hold this for the lane swap. And that's going to work out. Actually works out perfectly here for Dplus, where they get the dragon and get the lane swap during it, as Beryl just hangs around here for a moment and can go and rejoin.
Yep, the dangers of a lane freeze, which is obviously what Polly was looking for there by holding that wave. So they're going to be caught a little off guard, as Shu doesn't manage to get the knock up here. Aiming going to turn up. And so Morgan now getting the news that things have kind of changed. There is still a Nefiri in the area. Nice little seismic shove here on to Showmaker, who gets hit by the hook of Paulo. Will have to use that Spirit Rush in order to get himself to safety. So that is another big tool now down.
Yeah, as this shouldn't amount to anything.
But Doggo is, sorry, Doggo. Croco just going to be throwing around some hot dogs, which is why I had Doggo on the mind.
Miss Doggo.
An 80 carry that is not in this league.
No. Does occasionally try to make some appearances, though, in other Korean international tournaments.
Yeah, we cast him in Kesper Cup, right?
Yeah.
That was cool.
Alongside players like Woody.
That was in one of Maple's last games ever.
Yeah.
But now he's unretired.
Last games ever until he unretired, yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to keep up, you know? It's kind of like farewell tours that obviously make a lot of money.
When
a lot of people go on multiple.
Yeah, when you are kind of the best player in your region, is the most famous player in your region, you try to retire, people just keep trying to give you money, and you're like, okay.
I guess I will. I guess it's fine. Also, he played well in Casper.
No, he really did. He was the
the mid guy.
Yeah. As this game is slowed down a little bit here, Grub spawn in 40 seconds, and it's a relatively even game state here. Obviously, the top side dive was a success. Showmaker with a lead in mid, did not have to flash. His ult being on cooldown has not been punished, of course. Palu making some big impacts in this game so far, which is a good sign as we're going to commit the ult here.
Yeah, some curtains getting cold on here as Hype is just going to try and use it to clear out the wave. Shiu gets that message and he's like, no. That last shot is not going to work out.
Got the cannon.
Yeah, he does get the cannon. Shiu does punish him decently well.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about, and Ox loves to talk about, the fact that Jhin doesn't hurt Sion.
Yes.
Doesn't do it, so sometimes you got to ult to make sure you can keep control. Grubs are live, by the way, and Dplus have a trap set here with Lucid.
Yeah, the flash forward, Chains of Corruption going to connect there, as well as the kitchen sink hits the Renekton. He slices and dices though, and aiming has to flash, but he does pick up the first kill for DK. They heal to get themselves back out here as well, as Showmaker has started off these Grubs, understanding that they have the man advantage for only 10 seconds time. A teleport can bring Morgan back in, but that may be enough time for DK to be able to lock at least one of these Grubs down. Smite is going to be invested, and they are just going to get themselves out as Closer, holding onto the seismic shove, does find it here onto Showmaker in the end.
And Closer's Taliyah has been so insane this year. Like, he had so many great Taliyah games, whereas in the past it was such a weak point for him champion-wise, in my mind. He did not, however, Weaver's Wall into that fight, try to turn it when Morgan was being focused. Morgan does go down. They end up losing the first Grub. They'll secure the next two. And Grub's not the most important in this game with like a Sion and a Renekton. It's not a hard winning side lane comp. The Taliyah can do okay. Was it just an engage on the Morgan, Chains of Corruptions on the follow-up, so he gets to press R, and he barely gets to press Q. Like, he almost doesn't even get to press Q. That was the mindset. If he does get to press Q, then aiming has to flash. Beryl actually heals to help the retreat there from aiming, but 100% worth for aiming, who has now got his Dirk and Retrix in inventory, and is pretty accelerated in this game. And I kind of like a Fed Varus more than a Fed Renekton.
Oh, it's game over, Wolf.
Missed a few of them.
Yeah, he just straight up missed the Deadly Flourish.
Yeah.
That's a very expensive miss.
Hype did not have the great early game on the Jhin. That was not the part where he had the good game.
No.
It was the later part, the very latest part, in fact.
Oh, Shiu does have the anti-Renekton items now complete. Morgan is going to have the anti-Sion item completed relatively soon, but as you can see as of right now, Shiu is feeling way better in this lane. It's kind of nuts, as he's going to find some Q damage, going to ignore these minions. Bramble Vest value going to be working out there as well.
Yeah.
As
the Fury, okay, hold up, Morgan.
Wait a second.
He does have ult.
Yeah, so I don't think he's under any threat of death or anything like that, but if he does have to ult, then that means that he is a definite target here.
I mean, Lucid is...
Lucid?
He is topside, like you say, with his ult coming back online, so Morgan's actually just going to channel it back here, get his health back. TP coming in for Closer as Palu gets that vision cleared in the river. Hype's having a pretty good laning phase here, all things considered, in this game. They have a ton of vision around this dragon that's about to spawn here. Maybe this time we'll see that Weaver's Wall entrance and Bro trying to look for a full contest. Morgan does not have TP, Shiu does, and his ultimate, so Dplus absolutely should be able to contest. That's not going to help the contest.
Yeah, that's a pretty opportunistic use of the ulti there.
Got it.
Out of aiming. It would have just got a cleanse, if anything. So, not exactly going to be the most impactful, but...
Dplus, you're going to need Shiu here if they're going to fight for this.
Yep, they've got a lot of vision, because they do, of course, still have that crab. But Croco going to have to bounce over that wall, and now DK with full control of this area. Morgan, no teleport, no chance. And let's see whether Croco can actually make something happen. They engage on him, and that is how you blow up the Nefiri. You just kill him in one shot.
Or mind control him to look for a steal, yeah.
Something like that. Hextech Dragon is going to be the soul for this game as Shiu teleports back towards that top side. They had to sacrifice some plates for it, but I think they're going to say worth. Still, they don't have a gold advantage. The Double Dragon
into Hextech? Yeah, I'd say so in this game. With the Varus, Lethality Varus, as well as going to be looking to poke and slow. Then your Ahri can hit Charms better. So looking very good for Dplus in this second game here, despite, like you said, the gold lead not being there just yet, but they certainly have a lot of ways to get one. And it's only this Renekton that has an advantage over a Scion that is the reason why they don't, because they're winning everywhere else in small increments. Krako has Blast Cone, and he also has his W and Flash, so he's kind of like, I should be able to get out here, but he's just chain CC'd to death.
Yeah. And Beryl even gets delivered towards closer as well. That's exactly what Beryl wanted, you could imagine.
Oh, 100%.
And Showmaker overflowing with essence there. And so no way for a follow-up fight. As DK, first fights have looked pretty good so far this series. I think if you're a Bro fan, first, get your Bro tax in. There's a button there for a reason. That's going to help Holu land things like this, as the exhaust going to be used on him there as well. It's a nice double knockup. Beryl is going to die. Can they do some more work towards Showmaker, as the curtain call underground is a very confusing phenomenon, but Hype is just going to cancel that one in the end.
Morgan sees an angle here.
Yeah, gonna pop the Dominus as Xiu. Let's see whether he can find an angle to ult his way out. Decides instead to use it to CC the Renekton. Fully charges the Q. And Morgan not gonna be able to find too much because Lucid shows up. 5 seconds on the cease and desist. That would have been a dead Renekton, even with a Talia in the area.
Scary stuff. Kraka was also there, and Closer came up. Very, very scary fight potentially there for Dplus had they extended into that further. But I think both teams taking the right and safest call there, as we are going to have plates dispelled here in 20 seconds time. I think when I look at this game state here, I'm like, okay, both teams have insane single target. Team fights are going to get brawly. But I like the fact that Shio is able to, despite being nearly 800 gold down, it could just be silent. Like, he could still be a front lane, he could still be tanky. You're not going to pick him very easily in moments like this, right? And in 5v5s, I do favor Dplus later on because their comp is simple. Beryl here, not being very respectful, and you can see the Jhin follow-up is just so simple. But, like, every single win for these teams so far has been, I CC you, I CC you again. Yeah. I CC you one more time.
I CC you and I go and
you see you, I CC you.
Yeah. Just to let you guys know, CU is also a convenience store here in Korea, so it's very confusing when Wolf is saying CC you over and over again.
Yeah, the slogan is nice to see you.
It is.
But not for these comps, it's nice to CC you.
Yeah. We just add an extra C, and it's not talking about corn chips, it's about crowd control. Okay, there we go. Do you have CCs in America? Is that a corn chip brand for you guys, or is that
no.
an Australian thing?
But they do sell corn chips at the CU.
Ah, so we can, but not CCs, I don't
No,
think.
just corn chips in general.
Okay, never mind. So a bit of a, for the Aussies out there, you might get it. I don't know whether they're even still around. Maybe old Aussies. Never mind. The Bros still hanging on. They still have a little bit of a gold advantage as well. We don't have any feats of strength going over to any team just yet. The next kill for either side will be able to get that. You'll also get one for taking your first turret. We'll see who can actually get that one down belowest. Top lane did take a couple of plates worth of damage. You can see also here on this bottom side, things looking a little worse for wear on the DK side. I think plates is actually where Bro have made a lot of their money.
Yeah, and the... You know, again, next Dragon here is really pivotal for Dplus. Like, if they get Soul Point here, they can kind of do whatever they want for the rest of the mid-game.
Ooh, Beryl. Deadly Flourish comes down again, and he's caught by another hook.
I see you, I CC you!
Yeah. There was definitely a lot of CCU there.
And now they're just going to get this Herald, and because the Dragon doesn't spawn for 40 more seconds here, it's not like Dplus can make a trade for this. They either have to try to contest this Herald, or they're going to have to just regroup and maybe look for some vision on Dragon. Surely, right?
Lucid is wrapping around. They're looking for the poke damage, of course, with a Varus in here. It is a possibility, but there is a Renekton now channeling the teleport behind him, and now the engage onto Lucid. Can he actually get in here? I think it's a successful disengage thus far, but it is going to be the Rift Herald going over to the Bros. Now can they find the team fight? That's the question. Is Aiming having to deal with a crocodile on top of him, and he gets shoved right back into the melee. Now we do have the return of Beryl, but he's a little too late. It is going to be Lucid taking down the support, but I think he will be the sacrifice, as there is a slice ready for Morgan, as Showmaker going to have to flash away. Shattering Strike from Beryl to try and save his mid laner, and Kroko just gets Magnet Stormed so that Showmaker can survive.
But that's no Magnet Storm for the Dragon, so that doesn't feel great. Shiu is at basically no health here. I'm just going to 4-shot him.
Yeah, Seismic Shove going to pull him back in as well. Yeah. Oh! The curtains have been called. This is going to take some serious DDR from Shiu, who is going to be able to walk his way out of it. Never mind, very nimble is the Lumberjack Scion.
All right, so we're just putting all the buttons on cooldown, except Lucid's ult.
Oh, but that is going to be feats of strength over to the bros.
Yeah, bro. Oh.
Unless Morgan just dies to the turret. Never mind.
Oh my god.
That would have been feats of strength.
He doesn't have
still
TP.
Could be. How much health? How much health on that thing?
He doesn't have TP. Like, they actually are not going to get the dragon anymore. Like, what? They spent so much trying to kill Showmaker and fail. They spent so much trying to kill Scion.
They're going to teleport Closer up to at least lock down feats of strength. So there that is. I think that would have already happened, I think, to the minions, but that's totally fine. The soul point is going to be taken for free.
Yeah. Aiming in danger? Question mark? Maybe not.
Aiming in danger confirmed. Beryl may be more danger because he's just often in danger by existing on the map.
Bro, you were the dragon team. Remember?
You were the chosen ones. You had the high ground.
I remember when Bro were the Kingslayers and they beat Damwon Kia and like,
hey,
All
honestly,
King Lava and
okay, but they still do have a gold lead.
True.
They have feats of strength.
True.
They took the mid lane out of turret. They've done some stuff. They're landing every single shove. And Shiu is just dead. Shiu is also playing a tank. We haven't actually mentioned this, but he has struggled on the tanks so far here in the Rise group.
Well, you know the gift that keeps giving is I see you, I CC you in this game. Like, it's actually wild. Like, we saw that flank from Lucid on the Herald earlier. They saw him. They CC'd him.
Yep.
And this just continues to be a thing. Scion, he takes a long time to kill, but they will CC him.
Well, oh, that hook was beautiful. And the follow-up is going to be there as well as the Nefiri grabs herself a kill onto the Foxy Lady. Closer is going to get exhausted, but it's not really going to be much there for DK.
Of these 10 champions, by the way, only Kroko does not really have CC.
Yeah.
And he has a button to get out of CC, so he's kind of winning.
And that's why I was kind of worried, right? Because Closer's got follow-up CC, not CC. However, if you've got a Nautilus, a Jhin, and a Renekton, you're going to be able to lock down a target.
Like, watch what happens when you see someone, right? She was like, I've been seen, okay?
So you see them.
They're like, Closer's like, oh my god, I see him, he's right there.
And
boom,
then CC them.
CC.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I get it now.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing. As Showmaker's just playing bullet hell, trying not to get CC'd. He's like, they saw me! Damn it!
They CC'd me! No!
I mean, it's actually so silly how easy it is to get picks with this comp for Bro.
Yep.
When you're ahead, like,
and now they're 4.3k gold ahead. So before, it was Soul Point, and they were down 1,000 gold. That is totally fine for DK.
But
this is getting to the danger zone.
I mean, but for Dplus, if you have map control, it's the same thing. Like, they see somebody, they CC them, right? With the Vi, Ahri, Varus, we've already seen it. Like, they've done it multiple times in this game, but when you're down vision, you don't get to see them, so you can't CC them, and that's where we are.
Well, Lucid is going to see Kroko. I just don't know whether that's actually going to do anything. As the Bros now moving over, 2 items already for this Nefiri. As, all right, Beryl looking for a Magnet Storm angle. It could be a big one. Charm lands onto Kroko. They don't get too much follow-up, and Lucid down to below half health. Hype is just bullying.
Shield on the flank, seen, so I'm not sure what might happen to him.
Does that mean he'll get CC'd?
Nah, he left. He got off vision real quick.
Okay, there we go.
He's just out of range, okay? You also have to be in range.
Well, Kroko and his little hot dogs making their way towards the Otacon here.
Okay, the turn has to be pretty crisp here. Showmaker has TP. They do not have vision, but they're very aware of this. TP from Beryl as well. They should be able to come for a contest, but like, they need to be faster about this.
Yeah, Hook is going to connect onto a wall here as Lucid, okay for the moment, does get over and does have to flash to get out of the way of the seismic shove. Magnet Storm pulling a couple of them in, but Beryl is still going to fall down. Polu flashes away to not suffer the same fate as the seismic shove is going to be avoided. Cease and desist as Lucid will trade his life, but this time Kroko gets to go untargetable, and it is just kind of a disaster here for DK as Bro, they're seeing a target, and then they're CCing a target, and then they're killing a target.
This is the gift just keeps on giving with this comp. Like, you could just make it happen every single team fight. The wild thing about this is Bro actually make the decision to turn. They have Paulo set up, and like, I think old Bro might have just held the Otacon here and given Dplus an in, but they say no, we have a Talia, we have a Nautilus, and you know what, Atlas? The Otacon is immune to CC. So
oh no.
They're like, you know what, we can't CC that. Here's a Weaver's Wall, and Lucid gets cut off, gets CC'd. He has to flash the second part of the CC there, and yeah, the Dplus are just not set up here, obviously. They're trying to come in for an Otacon contest, but the trap was sprung. Aiming gets ulted here. Lucid doing a great job to peel for him, but they just don't have any control here. She was completely cut off on the other side, and I mean, it was a nice try to keep Aiming alive, and you did, but you had to die for it. Shio also on the side here, just picked off as an added bonus. Shio, he's such a flanker, man. He shouldn't be a flanker sometimes on these.
Yeah, he needs to be a frontliner.
Yeah, he's kind of flanking when he needs to be frontlining.
Yeah, and look, if you can actually dictate when the fights happen, that can work out, but now it's 34 petals to 3.
Oh, they didn't CC him!
We're going to all in on to Morgan, who does get on top of Aiming. It looked a little scary for a moment, and in fact, it is. As is the Talia locking down a kill. Beryl's going to be the next one to die. Yes, you took down the Lord, but we will kill all of you as the revenge comes in from the bros. Yeah, I think Morgan's probably typing Worth.
Yeah, I do think so. He also avoided the charm very deftly there. And first dragon for Bro. It's not too much to write home about on its own, but the gold they picked up in the ensuing fight from the pick onto Morgan as 4 kills worth is definitely where they're going to be pointing their fingers here if you're looking at the game state to their 7,000 gold lead. We had one for Dplus in game 1. Now the pendulum has well and truly swung as Morgan here is a Renekton. So look at where Shio is, by the way, so far away.
He avoids all the CC as well.
Exactly, like they saw him, but they couldn't CC him. That's the thing. But even if he didn't avoid it, I still think the result is the same because Bro just rotate over so quickly here. Another Weaver's Wall from Closer gets him in. The follow-up is just so easy with this Naafiri. And like Renekton lives so long. It's unfortunate, maybe he would have lived a little bit less long if they hit him with the CC, but still the collapse was going to be there.
Yeah, and she once again was just a spectator. So hasn't really been getting in front to make things happen. The rest of the team looking a little hyphy, to be perfectly honest. I don't want to blame the young player on the top side of the map too much. But the tank play is not really being much of a thing to write home about at this point in time.
We kind of mentioned at the draft, like whoever gets ahead is going to just roll over the game because of all the dive and single target pick there is. The Scion is kind of the most awkward part of this because he does have CC, right? He can set up a CC chain or follow up on one, but when you're behind, he's just a big CC target. Like he's got quite a big hitbox to seismic shove into all the other forms of damage. And Showmaker's caught again.
Yep, another hook. Polu is just going insane today. It's looking real good. The Magnustorm is kind of decent here from Beryl, though. That will kill Croco as in goes Lucid. Now they're starting to get some of these resets for Aiming as Closer the next one to be locked down, but they run out of damage. They run out of buttons, and they may run out of AD carry as well, as the curtain's thankfully going to get blocked by Lucid. Shio does finally find himself in amongst the fray, but he is just going to get murdered for it. So Seismic Shove going to be avoided there by Lucid, and it's a 2-for-2 trade.
They don't have their jungler to do Baron here, even though it is spawned now, so they will reset. I think try to clear as many waves as possible. Hype's actually going to stick it for this wave to try to do some extra damage to the turret. He's going to put a significant amount into it, if not take it outright. So sure, they don't get Baron, but they do end up winning the longer fight there, and will eventually get this turret. TP to help secure here for Paulo, and now they can wrap over towards it. Croco has respawned, and with all the vision they have, I think they could probably just as soon as they group, start the Baron. Paulo Hex Flash into this. Like, you can't even blame Showmaker for this. I mean, sure, he could have flashed, but you don't want to use your flash if you could help it, and everything just happens so fast. The rest of his teammates are also there, so I think he's thinking, okay, maybe they can actually help me turn this before I die. Does end up dying, and yes, they end up getting these picks here. It's an overextension slightly, but this is the thing about Jhin. When you have this insane front line and so much easy pick, like, it's so easy to just say, well, you're stuck here now. Like, you guys may have won the battle, but we win the war.
And it didn't quite work out for DK. It was better than a lot of the other fights have been, though, as we're all of a sudden right into another one. Weaver's Wall comes down as Lucid on a flank angle. Good flash there from Beryl, gets him out of the way of Polu, who has a magnetic anchor in this game. Still an 8,000 gold lead, Wolf. It is still the circling of the drain here for DK. Seismic shove after the deadly flourish. You can fish for these all day on the side of the Bros, and now the curtains are going to be called. In goes the Scion, dead on arrival here, as we can see. Maybe the zombie can get some DPS happening, as Morgan is just going to melt aiming with basically just his ultimate. It's a quadra kill in the end for Hype. And if Morgan hadn't have just Dominus to kill aiming, that could have even been a penta, but that is going to be an ace here for the Bros. And I think a guaranteed best of 3, a guaranteed at least 4 games here on the day, as the Bros just ran circles around DK this game.
Oh yeah, and Lucid was just a sandbag to be ripped apart in so many of these exchanges. And the Taliyah pick working a treat here. They did not trade it for Azir. They went for the Ahri Vi, and they just got dismantled. High volatility on the comp here for Dplus, and bro, they struck first, they struck hard, and they struck fast. Around the top side objectives is where they really started to build their lead. Showmaker does not look happy, because that's Ahri Vi in your Fearless, gone for the rest of the series.